Hi, Gabi from Ray Studios here, and today I'm going to be comparing the Canon EOS M50 against the Sony A77. So why I'm comparing these two cameras? Well, there is one reason and one reason only. This camera costs $300 with the kit lens, and this camera, second hand, you can buy it for $600, but with a way faster kit lens and a 51.7 and a zoom telephoto lens. All these for the price of this. So in this video I'm gonna try to find out if this is worth it for photography, especially when compared with something like one of the best crop sensor cameras that is from Canon. I believe this is the latest crop sensor mirrorless camera from Canon. So first, let's talk about the body. This is very small, plasticky. And when I say plasticky, there are some cameras that are made of plastic and they're really fantastic. This is not the case. This is cheap plastic. It's not like it's bad, but yeah, plasticky. In the other hand, we have this camera that is magnesium alloy. So it feels really nice, and it's not too big, but it's definitely not small, and the grip feels really good in the hand. Of course, the magnesium alloy is covered by plastic, so the touch of the feel is plastic, but it feels so much more premium than the Canon EOS M50. And of course, the grip, especially for someone with big hands, it feels really good. Also, all the buttons, it's like full of buttons. Also have a top LCD screen with lights, and there is a joystick, which is considered to be professional. Another big difference is the SD card is on the side, unlike on the M50 that is here at the bottom, and it's always gonna get blocked if you mount anything on the bottom like I did now, or if you put it on a tripod, and very uncomfortable. So this is more like a pro body, if we can call it that. And this is also weather seal, so huge advantage when it comes to the body, generally speaking. Now what we're going to be talking about is a screen. So the M50, as you can see, have a swivel screen and go to the side and flips all over the place, and you can use it for blogging, for anything. Basically, it's very convenient, and it's also touch. So it's touch sensitivity, you can touch it to focus and do different stuff. In the other hand, we have the the Sony A77, which have a screen that basically goes pretty much the same in all directions. You can use it for blogging if you want. Check this out. I'm gonna turn it on. So you could clearly blog with this thing, and you can use it on low angles, on high angles, vertical mode. It does everything. Yeah, you can pretty much use it for everything. But the big difference is gonna be that the Sony A77 does not have a touch screen, and that could be a pretty big advantage for the Canon EOS M50. Well, since we're talking about a screen, we're also going to talk about the viewfinder. Even so, this is a DSLR. There is a mirror on this. It is a very weird mirror, but a mirror indeed, versus a mirrorless. But they both have a electronic viewfinder. So this doesn't have an optical viewfinder. They have the same kind of viewfinder that this camera have. But there is a huge difference. And when I say huge, it's literally huge. It's like the size of the viewfinder on this thing. It's like watching a movie on the cinema. It's a huge screen. You put your eye in there and you see, and it's like, wow. While the M50 is just tiny. It's like, I never complain about the viewfinder because I don't use it all that much. But now that I have a camera with a electronic viewfinder that looks really like what it should look, like big and bright and very high definition, you can tell the difference very quickly. So they're both 24 megapixels, like I say, one mirrorless, one with a mirror. But here is the thing. Even so, this is a DSLR by definition. It does have a mirror. This is a translucent mirror, which means the mirror never flaps up and down. The mirror is just there to bounce the light, catch the light, and have very fast autofocus, just like most DSLRs. But because the mirror is translucent, basically never flaps up and down, which allow you to focus very fast by having the technology of DSLRs, but at the same time neutralizing the best things of mirrorless, which They don't have a mirror that need to go up and down, and that allows you to do 12 frames per second photography, which is professional level kind of photography. Obviously, you cannot even get close to these 12 frames. I think this is to like, I don't know, like 4 or 5. It's pretty slow. And also the accuracy when you're doing fast frame rates on the Sony A77 is actually pretty good. Well, even so this is much slower, the accuracy is still not as good as the Sony, which is a much older camera. This is like, there are like 6-7 years difference between this camera, so you know. But like I said before, what is very important about this deal is if you are into photography, it's not the camera what makes the image. What really makes the image is the glass that is in front of it. And this is where this camera really bright, because for the same money, for the money you pay this, you can get this camera with some pro features plus 3 lenses. And the lens, the kit lens on this camera, it looks very impressive. You can see already, take the lens hood so you can see it. You can see how much bigger than the kit lens on the M50 is. It is a much bigger lens. You have a kit, so you can, sorry, have a lock, so you can lock it. Now I unlock it. And then you have the AF to manual focus, AF, MF button right here, which this one doesn't. The focusing ring have hard stops, which is very useful for filmmakers and pretty much for everybody. It's always nice to have a feeling over the fly-by-wire focusing that you get in the M50 kit lens. And these have a f2.8 through the entire lens. The f-top is just, it opens much wider and it's through the entire lens. While this one have a 3.5 to I believe 5.6. Let's see, 6.3. So it gets really dark at the telephoto end at 45 millimeters. Well, this is 16 to 50 f2.8 through the entire lens. It's big, very big advantage. So in theory it's a big advantage, but in practicality, not that much. So let's take a look at some pictures, and here I wanted to shoot both cameras wide open to see, you know, how much you can get out of these lenses and these cameras wide open. And you can see the Sony is a little bit soft, while the Canon is much sharper. But you need to consider it's f2.8 versus 3.5. Here I did the same, wide open versus wide open, and the Canon yet again looks sharper. And I was hoping in this picture to get like a nicer bokeh out of the Sony, but yeah, you get bokeh, you get more shallow depth of field, but it's not a huge difference. The good news is when you step it down on the Sony, both at f3.5, you're getting more or less about the same sharpness, so they're both equally sharp actually. It's just that when you go fully wide open on the aperture on the Sony, it gets a little bit soft. When it comes to color, surprisingly, the A77 have really nice colors. It wasn't so far off from the colors of the Canon camera. And I say surprisingly because for me that I've been shooting Sony for quite a few years, for a pretty long time, and I feel like the A77 have nicer colors than the modern Sony cameras like the A6300 and the A7R Mark II, both cameras that I own. So I don't know, it's kind of like strange. But here you can see that in low light, well, they're both kind of bad basically. As soon as the lights go down, I will give a little bit of an edge to the Sony, but really they're very close. That being said, the kit lens versus kit lens, I will have them like very close. When it comes to photography and image quality, they're very close. But like I say, you can adapt for the same price. You get a fast prime lens at 50 f1.7, and then you're gonna get much shallow depth of field and much sharpness. And then you also get a telephoto lens for situations in which you're gonna need a telephoto lens. So all put together, if we're only talking only photography, I guess the Sony A77 wins, believe it or not. But if we're gonna talk about video, well, that's a completely different story. They have touch autofocus, very helpful for video. They have the fastest autofocus when it comes to video. So for photography, the autofocus is maybe even faster on the A77, even though it's much older. But when it comes to video, the autofocus is not that great on the A77. It's actually way faster on the M50. These have 1080p, 24, 25, 50, 60. These have the same, but this one also have 120 frames per second at 720p, which is bad, but it has it. This doesn't have 4K, this have it, even so it's terrible, horrible rolling shutter, a massive crop into the sensor, and basically no autofocus, because contrast autofocus in this camera is just horrible. But sometimes I use it. I won't complain too much about it, because sometimes I actually use the 4K in this camera. So when it comes to video, there are also a few more downsides worth remarking. The hot shoe mounts here, hot shoe, or if you want to call it cold shoe, because if you mount the microphone, that doesn't matter. It's a specific one from Sony, so you need to use an adapter. Adapter costs like $5, not a big deal. But yeah, kind of like why Sony do these things. And also, if you plug a microphone, you know that adjust the levels manually, so it's only automatic levels, which sucks. You want to be able to control the levels like I do right now, all the time basically. I never use automatic levels for my audio. And another thing is, if you want to shoot video and use manual settings, you want to set your shutter speed, you want to set your aperture, well, then you lose the autofocus in this camera, which is total bummer. They both have focus peaking, which is okay. So if you're planning to do, you know, to manually focus your camera, then it's not such a huge deal. And the image quality and video, they're both not too far off from each other, either 24p or 60p. So they're both capable of doing a little bit of slow motion. But yeah, when it comes to video, the M50 just smashed the A77. But when it comes to photography, incredibly, even if I take these two lenses out and it's just this, I might still say that it's better than the M50 only photography. If you just add only one of these, so this will be still cheaper than this, and it's still way better for photography, especially if you want to do some creative photography. You will get really nice shallow depth of field, you can get a lot of sharpness. This lens, when it's top down, it gets very sharp. So and it have a real camera, you know, with weatherproof, and you know, with the focus ring with hard stops, and I don't know, it feels different. Well, that being said, this is my comparison. I like to hear what you have to say about it. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think. Will you consider buy something like this, second-hand, with a few lenses, considering that maybe for photography it could be better, or you stick to modern cameras like the M50 and just use the kit lens in case you don't have any more budget. Also, let me know if you like this video, and please subscribe if you haven't yet. This is Gabby from Ray Studios. Till next time.